That is Celtics head coach Joe Mazzulla on building a next man up culture with the Boston Red Sox.
My guy. I know Curtis can't stand them, but, I listen.
Curtis is not here to defend his position.
You know he hates Mazzulla.
He's got the stomach thing, but
I tell you, I give Mazzulla a ton of credit. I was on it. I was on his ass in the beginning when he first got the gig, and I think what he's been able to do with this team, you got to start giving the dude his credit. I like what he does with the media. I actually love Clapback Joe. Yeah. I love when he gets kind of like.
But now we're back to that regular season thing. Like, why are you gonna put anything on his name, as you would say, regular season?
Well, that's all.
It's
right. But I give him the credit for the regular season,
and you have to give him credit after the situation he was thrown into at the beginning of last season, and what he was able to do there. Now he's got one under his belt. He's made a complete 180, I think, personality-wise. He has a few clapbacks, but he's not on the defense 24/7, which I think was my issue last season. I like Joe Mazzulla now too. Last season he wasn't for me, but it was more his style and how he addressed especially Abby Chin. I know he's still like that with Washburn, but overall, like, he's gotten these guys in line.
And it's a different team.
Would you have him, when it comes to current head coaches coaching in this city, would you have him at the top of your list?
Yeah, I think you have to.
I would.
Number one.
Yeah. I think he has all his guys buying in. It's a completely different team than last year. Everybody's kind of bought into this selfless basketball. And, when your superstar player is one that's, pushing that message out there and saying that, hey, it's really not about who gets the glory, but it's about us, getting the wins and winning a championship. I think
the wins, except when it comes to the Denver Nuggets in the regular season.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, are you afraid of? Is that the only team that scares you?
That's the only team that concerns me.
What about Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat?
Nah, different team. I think that they're a different team. The Celtics are a different team. The only reason why I am a little concerned with Denver is because the Joker is a problem, and they don't have anybody. If you watch that game that they lost to Denver, they don't have anybody that can slow him down. Yeah, especially when he wants to get to his spot on the court. Listen, we all love Porzingis, but Porzingis can't do anything with him, and so that's the one. That's the one guy that, obviously concerns me when you go up against him, because he could do so many things and he creates for so many others. But I think this is a different basketball team. And they have the one thing that they could do this year that I felt like they couldn't do last year is they can get multiple scoring contributions from a ton of people, because they're all willing to say, okay, hey, it might be your night. We got to get him involved. We got to get this, this guy involved in. So I think that's the one thing that we didn't see last year. And
meaning you're really talking mostly about Jason Tatum, meaning that he has got Jason Tatum to be able to understand that he's going to have to take a backseat sometimes to other guys, and it's going to not necessarily be about him being MVP this season, but more about the team advancing to the finals and winning it.
See, I wouldn't say that. I think it's more about everybody kind of knows their roles. And last year, I think a big issue was, when you had Marcus Smart, he kind of even like Jaylen Brown kind of understands his role. So I think that's the biggest thing. It's really not about Tatum, because I think Tatum was always trying to get guys involved, but guys didn't know their roles, and guys didn't, they wanted to be me ball. And I think they all understand. And we talked to Derek White, and he said it, where Tatum said, hey, it ain't about just me and one guy getting their shots off.
Yeah.
And then that's when everybody goes, oh, if Tatum can do it, we should be able to do it. Where I don't think it was like that last year. I think it was like, oh, we need to get the same amount of shots up as Jason Tatum.
Well, you're putting that all on Marcus Smart.
I put that on. Yeah, I put a lot of it on Marcus Smart. I put, some of it on Derek White, because he was trying to find his role competing with Marcus Smart. You put some of it on Malcolm Brogdon. Those three guys weren't playing in a position of, all right, we know our roles. They're all fighting for who's going to be the guy who's on the court at the end of the game.
You also have to put a little bit of it on Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum being able to work together.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
A lot of us, myself included, thinks that Marcus Smart had a little bit to do with the fact that they didn't really mesh well. But they didn't look good together on the court last season. They look a hell of a lot better right now.
Also, I think don't underestimate how much of a factor getting rid of Grant Williams might have been.
That's another one.
He's that same kind of Marcus Smart kind of guy.
That is another key guy, and I didn't even think about that. But and I think the thing that Jaylen Brown has done and worked well with Tatum is like Jaylen Brown has almost become, and Tatum has kind of allowed that opportunity for him, is you get yours in the first quarter, maybe the second quarter, first half type of player. And then Jaylen Brown goes, okay, crunch time, third quarter, fourth quarter, we kind of will say, all right, this is where we need to get the ball to Tatum, who's our superstar, to create, make plays, score, do everything that he needs to do.
Well, yeah, and then you're going to be able to judge the in-game coaching part, which is like if they figured out the locker room stuff, which seems like you get rid of Marcus Smart, get rid of Grant Williams, you add that in, you get guys in here like Porzingis, Drew Holiday, who seem to accept what their role is and understand that part. Then you got to get it's going to be the playoff run is going to be on your head coach and how he coaches in game, calling timeouts, how he what does he do when somebody is doubling Jason Tatum, when a team decides to double Jason Tatum, like that's going to be on Joe Mazzulla. That's what I think Curtis's issue is, or even, it's a read anything text Wednesday, read every text Wednesday. And somebody says it's easy to be the best coach when you have the best team in your sport. So they're giving zero credit to Joe Mazzulla for what they've done this regular season so far.
Well, listen, do they have the best tandem in the NBA? Two players. Because if this person's saying they have the best team, I think they have the best team in the sense of players buying into their roles. But if you start to look at some of these other tandems, Phoenix has Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and who's the other?
Beal.
And Bradley Beal. So those three collectively would be better than your three collectively.
And I think it's
not really. You're not giving a lot of credit to Kristaps Porzingis.
No, I think Kristaps
he's changed when it comes to the opportunity, especially down low, to give them an option other than the threes.
Right.
Like he's changed the fabric of the basketball team.
And I'm not saying he hasn't, but I'm just saying if you were to poll people on paper, because that texter said they have the best team, and I'm saying no, what they have is the best team that's bought into their roles. They don't have necessarily the best players, because if you would have...
You don't think they have the best talent, top five? Like, if you go starting five, you don't think the Celtics have the best talent in the NBA right now?
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
They do.
I think that if you start to look at some teams, you might go, all right, like the Denver people would say the Joker's the best player on the floor, right?
Okay,
and Jamal Murray would be the third best player on the floor because Tatum would be the second best player.
But overall talent, I'm not talking about one person in particular. Overall talent, the Celtics have the best talent in the league. They have a 6-game lead over any other team in the NBA.
Because they've all those players have bought in.
Right.
That's the biggest thing.
But I think the talent is also there. They know their strengths.
I'm not doubting their talent, but it's more about the buy-in of those players. It's more about Kristaps Porzingis knowing his role.
But I also think Joe Mazzulla plays a role in the buy-in.
Agree with you.
And that's why I think the texter doesn't give him enough credit. It's, he has the best talent. You still have to get that talent to play together and to buy in, to Wiggy's point.
Yeah, and that's why I've given Joe Mazzulla a lot of credit, and I've given those players a lot of credit. I personally think that Tatum, when he's on the court, my opinion, is the best player always on both ends and can do more than so many other players. Like, the Joker is a problem, but I feel like Tatum could do more than the Joker because he's a better defender.
Yeah, I mean, texters are losing their mind over Bradley Beal, and they're saying he's not even playing better than Derek White is this year. So
no, but I'm just saying from the view of the national basketball world, right? I would think that people would say Bradley Beal, for the most part, is a better player than Derek White, even though Derek White is having a great year. I'm just saying from the view of that. Right? From that type of view, that's what people would say. So when everybody goes, they got the best talent, yeah, their talent is really good. And I think the reason why it looks like they have the best talent is because the coach got them to buy in, and then the players are understanding their role. They have the best team.